Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you for tuning in for a very special fire today. Yes, okay, so you're with family and friends, hopefully socially distancing and doing it the right way. I have a very special Christmas present for you, and she is none other than the phenomenal Vivian Green. She is a singer, songwriter, actress, and pianist. Thank you and welcome for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, I need to know your regiment. You honestly look like a high schooler. Really. You don't age. Oh my goodness. It's so great seeing you and having you on the show. We have to thank you for taking time out during your family time, holiday time to share about your new album out and just for people to catch up with you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So let's talk about it. Love Absolute. I mean, this is your new baby.
Yeah, it's my new baby. It's my 7th baby.
Wow. Wow.
I know. It's really crazy. It marks my 18th year in the business, and that's crazy too. Doesn't feel like it, But yeah, so 7 albums, 18 years, and I'm still kicking.
That's important. We want to make sure that we keep you around. So can you give us the vibe or the feeling for Love Absolute?
Sure. It's a happy album. It's about love. It's about lots of things that I love, actually. So that's why I called it Love Absolute. So, for instance, and they're all different. They're not necessarily related to each other.
Okay.
My love of jazz music, for instance, this is the first album that I recorded a jazz track since my first album. And jazz is one of my first loves. So it's something that I love much more than people probably know. So I'm just happy that I made room for a jazz song on this album. So that's one reason. The way that I wrote the songs on this album is my absolute favorite way to write songs. So every song, every mid-tempo and ballad, not every song, was started at the piano. By myself, just alone, by myself, no producer, no nothing yet. And I constructed them in that way. And then I took the songs to Kwame, who produced the whole album. And then he produced around what I wrote. It's a very different way to songwrite.
Wow.
Because in the industry, you get used to people sending you music when you have a new album out, and then you kind of write around with what's already there. There's really not, you're not necessarily creating the structure of the song because it's already kind of made in the music. You can only do but so much with what's already there. So this time I wanted to have the creation first and then have someone write around me like I've been doing most of these 18 years. I'm like, no, I want to start the idea. I want to have the chord structure. I want to make all that melody up musically, and then you write around that. So my very favorite way to write songs, and that's how I did this album. It's the only album that I made a point to do that on for most of the album. And there's not another album where I made it like I made this one. So that's my absolute favorite way to write. And it's the way that I started writing songs. When I was a tween, I wrote songs at the piano. I didn't have a studio. Wow. I didn't have a producer. I didn't have any of that. And so I wanted to go back to the genesis of what I am as a singer-songwriter. So then there's a song about the diaspora from the transatlantic slave trade and how we ended up in so many different places, not just the United States, not even most of us ended up in the United States. Like it seems, if you live here, you would think that, but that's not the case. So We Are Everywhere is the name of the track, and it talks about all the different places that we ended up as a result of the slave trade. That's the topic that I absolutely love, that I'm a geek about, that I research and study. So like I said, they're not even related. They're things that I absolutely love, but And then my love life, which I'm pretty private about, but I do open up and talk about it in a vulnerable way that I haven't done, in a long time probably. So yeah, and I absolutely love him. So that's.
I love it.
That I love that are totally not necessarily related to each other.
You mentioned something, Vivian, that you said this album, Love Absolute, is how you began writing when you were a teen. Yeah. So did it come naturally? Did you do poetry and then you went into doing that, or how did it happen that you wrote this way and then you found words to the melody and then started singing it?
Yeah, so I started playing the piano, and I don't consider myself some great pianist. Like all of my musician friends know that. But I do play by ear. I started at 8 years old. My mom
Oh,
put me
wow.
in lessons. Yeah, she put me in lessons like, okay, this girl can pretty much play anything she hears. And I have to put her in piano lessons, but I hated the lessons. And my mom is like this very liberal kind of mom. Like, if you don't want to do it, I'm not going to force you. So now we argue about that. Like, you should have made me.
Right.
Because, you know, I would be quite proficient by now. I know I suck. So, but I have managed to use it to write songs. So when I was 11, a couple years later, I just started writing all of it all together at the piano, lyrics, melody, chords, just right there. It didn't start with poetry first. I don't think I'm a good poet, but so it started with as a song.
Do you get this talent from mom, dad, or distant relative?
I think I get it from both sides. There's music on both sides. My father played trumpet. My mother sings. My grandfather played keys. My uncle on my mother's side was like a fantastic saxophonist. So I just think it's on both sides of the family. And music is the thing that my parents really had in common. I think that was love. You know, their love came out of their love for music. So it's definitely not odd that that we all, my siblings, have some type of creative, you know, talent. That
Now you come from Philly, and there's a lot of great sounds that come from Philly. So I'm sure that was influential in your quest for this industry as well, right?
People always assume that, but I would have to say no.
Okay.
No, my parents loved everything. So
Okay.
that's what I say. They definitely were not partial to artists from Philadelphia at all. They loved everything. So in my house, you would hear Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, you would hear Billy Joel, you would hear Tina Turner, old stuff and new stuff, Diana Ross. They were huge Motown fans. They loved Motown. I think I knew like all the Supremes catalog, you know, to date, you know, before I was 10. I had to, like, that's like some of the first music that I learned, you know. So my parents, they really loved everything. My mom loved theater. And loved Streisand, who's one of my favorite singers. Like, I mean, they really were all over the place with their taste. So I cannot say that that they were biased toward anyone from Philadelphia necessarily. Yeah.
So were you that little girl, like so many of us, who would either put a towel on their head and grab a brush and sing? Obviously, we can't sing, but you could. Were you that type of child, or it came later?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I took the brush. I probably more. I love to sing when no one was home. You know, like I was raised in a pretty large home. So if everyone's home, I had this back like room that was like a guest room that I would go in, and this particular room, most of the rooms upstairs were carpeted, but this room had hardwood floors for whatever reason. I was going acoustics. Yeah. So that's where I would be when people were home. But when they were gone, I just wanted to be in the great room singing as loud as I could.
I can just imagine it. And your voice is just, it just pulls you in. You know, one of my favorite songs, which is one of your hits from your debut album, Emotional Roller Coaster. Oh my goodness. When I hear it now, it just pulls me in. I don't even know why. It just pulls me in. I just want to sit back. I don't want anyone talking. I just want to feel it by myself.
Wow.
Right?
Wow, that's so funny. That's amazing.
So do people just stop you in the street when they see you and just share with you? I can't imagine how that must feel, having people that can connect, whatever level it is, to something that you've written from your heart.
I guess, yeah, when my hair was short. But now that I've like started growing it out, and it's like, you know, people don't recognize me like much anymore unless I have on makeup, and I'm like the kind of girl who goes outside and no makeup and like.
Hello, I'm with you. I'm like, yes.
Running clothes and a baseball cap, so I stay under the radar easily. But yes, people have totally done that, and it's really wonderful because I never think when I'm writing a song, you know, just by myself, I never think that it's going to touch people in ways that I've been told my music has touched people. So it's really humbling to say, you know, that album or that song helped me through my divorce. I'm like, wow, definitely didn't think I would be helping someone through their divorce when I wrote that. So I think it just shows that what you do is just more powerful than whatever you're thinking. Like it has a larger purpose, you know. This has been told to me by many women through the years, not just one. Get divorces or just getting them through a really tough time. Yeah. It's something that I'm told all of the time, and it's very humbling because, like I said, it makes me feel like my gift is not just for me, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, and it goes beyond whatever I'm thinking it's gonna be.
Oh, and that's always great too. So on Love Absolute, what's your favorite cut? Or I know you love them all, but is there one that's kind of closest to you?
No, but I can give like 5.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it.
So This Love.
Okay.
Where You Are, Harlem Blues, That Kind of Pain, We Are Everywhere, and Sweet Home. Is that 6? Maybe 6.
Okay, so you said We Are Home.
We Are Everywhere.
We Are Everywhere. What's the premise of that one? We Are Everywhere.
Oh, We Are Everywhere is a song about the diaspora that I was talking to you about.
I figured that. Yeah, I figured that. So can you show us, I know you have the CD cover, and I just love what I saw you glimpse. You were reaching over before we went live, and look at that. Oh my goodness. I love that.
This is Love Absolute.
Yes, hold it closer to the camera because I want everyone to see. And listen, right now, Vivian Green, where can we go and get Love Absolute, your 7th baby?
Yes, you can get Love Absolute everywhere. It's streaming everywhere on every single platform. You could get it right now. If you go to my socials at I Am Vivian Green, that's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, there's a link directly there. It'll send you to whatever streaming site that you'd like to go to, or you can go just on your own. It's there. We have multiple songs on multiple playlists on all the platforms. It's really been a nice about a month now, I guess. Yeah, it's been a really good month. It's gotten really wonderful reception, and so I'm really happy and really excited.
So with Love Absolute, how many songs are there on there?
Oh, I think it's 10. Oh,
okay.
It's 13 including the interludes, but it's really 10.
So how long did it take you to get it to where it's out and ready? How long was the process?
I think we started at the end of 2018. Yeah.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So you are a perfectionist, obviously. Yes. Oh, wow. That is great.
Yeah. I don't think I'm the only one that.
No. I just think sometimes people think that you guys it's overnight. You work on it for a month or two and it just comes out. I mean, some things happen that way, but it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and love that goes into each and every one of these albums. And I'm sure yours is just the same. So, and that's why I keep saying baby. It's something personal that you've created. And I know it's special.
You're totally right. And then also, like, I'm a singer-songwriter. So I think when you make an album and you're getting song submissions from other songwriters, then perhaps you can finish an album in a couple weeks, a month maybe. But when I have to pull all of the creativity out of myself, it's going to take a minute, and then I always record more songs than what, ends up on the finished product. But it's the process of narrowing down to, okay, what is going to be the group of songs that fit best together, and that's a whole lot of rearranging and listening and taking some songs out, and switching some songs out until it fits, until it feels like a cohesive body of work. So it is a lot, when you're the writer. Yeah, for me anyway, I can't speak for anybody else, but I definitely need some time. I don't think I've ever put an album out in less than, I don't know, two years.
Quality.
After the previous one. Yeah. So.
Quality. Well, you're listening now to Fire. Our phenomenal guest is none other than Vivian Green, singer, songwriter, actress, pianist. She has her album, which has been out over maybe like 3 or 4 weeks now, Love Absolute. It's available on all streaming platforms, she said. And this one she did a little bit differently. So we were excited for her to share and talk about that. I want to ask you, can you tell us what your relationship is with Jill Scott? Because this is kind of getting you into the business, right?
Oh, well, that's what people say, but not really.
Okay, so I had two stories. I had Jill Scott and then a member from Boyz II Men. So maybe you can clear that up for me.
Well, I guess, okay. So when I was 16, I wrote a song for Boyz II Men, and should I say with them? I was still in high school, and it was the most, that was like the most amazing everything. Like my first published work, first time I saw my name in an album, first time I was paid, money for songwriting. So that was really fantastic. I was managed by Michael McCary at that time, who Mike Bates of Boyz II Men. I don't even think he's in the, but anyway. I was managed by him, and I had a record deal around that same time with Rough House Columbia. So this is when I'm in high school. And my parents, they just couldn't agree on the terms of the deal. So I ended up not being able to follow through with making an album with them, unfortunately. So I just continued to make more music that would eventually become the demo that got me signed. I stayed in the studio. I got jobs as a singer. I sang in a couple jazz clubs during the week. On the weekends, I sang in big band orchestras, and then and that kept me super busy. And then Jill Scott was doing promotional work for her first album. So this was like before it even came out, and someone very closely related to her project said that something happened with whoever the other singer was that they were using, and he's like, so do you want to do this? And I'm like, no, I don't. This earring, I'm not even going to put it back on at this point. It keeps falling off. I was like, no, I never wanted to be a background singer. It's nothing that I ever thought of doing. I was very sure about the goal I had for myself was, and it was, if you don't have a record deal because you're 21, you're going to go to college and that's it. Because I did really well in school. I'm a nerd. I've actually left school. And so there was never I never planned on being a starving artist. So I said, okay, 21, I'm going to try as hard as I can and that's it. So when he brought that opportunity to me, I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. And he asked me more than once, like, please, can you just do this? And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. So now I didn't know who she was because she wasn't the Jill Scott icon that she is now.
Okay, sure.
Her album came out, so I didn't know her. We didn't grow up together or anything like that. And so, so I listened to the music and I learned the album, everything I was supposed to learn. And I think I'm a good. I'm a good singer for things like that. If you hire me to sing something somewhere, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it well. So I learned it, and then I started doing these promotional dates with her. And then I still had all of my other singing jobs at that time too, as well. And then when her album came out, it just kind of took off seemingly overnight. And I'm like, oh my God! So I had to make the decision to quit the big bands that I was singing in at that time. There's 3 of them. Or go on the road. And so I was like, okay, I'll choose to go on the road. This might be something fun and different that I've never done at that point before. And so, yeah. And then in the meantime, I was always shopping my music before and during singing. So I don't know how the story turned into someone saw me when I sang with her. And they,
right.
Because that is just the biggest, that never happened.
We cleared it up right here. I said, let me ask this question instead of telling the story. I said, let me ask because I've gotten 2 stories. So, I
wish it was that easy though. Let me tell you. Oh, you saw me at a concert and wanted to sign me instantly? That would be everything. But no, that did not happen.
And I love, Vivian, you seem to be so down to earth and so free about just giving this information out and sharing with people. And, we have a lot of people, whether it's an actual young person or their parent or someone that gets misinformation and thinks, not to say that it doesn't happen, but that it happens so quickly and that things happen overnight. And that's why I love the fact that you're like, no, for me, it's 2 years or maybe a year and a half, but it's ready when it's ready.
Yeah, exactly.
So what was it like as a high schooler? I mean, I can't even imagine doing something like that for Boyz II Men and hearing it there. At that point, were you thinking, okay, this is what I'm going to do? I know, because you told me in the beginning you weren't really thinking about doing this personally, but was that when you were like, you know what, I guess I could do this? I mean, I'm working all over the city doing this. Maybe this is something I want to do professionally.
No, by that time I totally knew. I totally knew I wanted. I think what I meant when I said that was when you write a song based on your own personal experience, you just don't think that small thing is going to touch so many people that don't even know you. That's what I meant. Sure. But no, I totally knew by the time I was probably 15 that I wanted to do it professionally. That was like, so professionally. And so Boyz II Men, they were just coming off of their 2 album, which was like one of the biggest albums like ever. It sold 20 million records, some of the longest running singles of all time, are on that album. And so I was like super excited. I cannot even explain how.
I just can't. I can't imagine that.
So you mentioned like Philly. I think Boyz II Men is my biggest connection to artists from Philly that I was greatly like influenced by, because I always loved their music. Babyface is one of my favorite songwriters, and the stuff that he did with them is just phenomenal. And just to have the opportunity to be managed by one of them was just like insane. So
yeah, I can just imagine that. Any collaborations on this album, Love Absolute, that we should know about?
There are 2 actually. So one is Ghostface Killer from the Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh,
Light Up. It's an up-tempo party record. I love his feature. He gives it so much energy. It's a lot of fun. He wanted to be on my song Get Right Back to My Baby, but by the time he reached out to Kwame about being on that album, it was already done. Like the album ran its course, and it was we were coming down the chart.
And that's another one that I love.
Reached out when we were peaking. That would have been so amazing. But he said, well, the next song we do, the next club record, you've got to be on it. And so Light Up was that record. So, and
that was a great one for the clubs. That was a great one for the clubs too. So who would you like to work with in the future to do a collabo?
It's always a difficult question for me. I don't know. I'm sorry. There's another feature. I'm so sorry. I don't want to leave him out. So there's an amazing saxophonist. His name is Mike Phillips.
Phillips, okay.
So I've covered Harlem Blues, the jazz record that I was telling you about, from Mo Better Blues. And Mike Phillips is featured as a saxophonist, and he is just incredible on Harlem Blues. Like, he's so amazing. He just put the icing on the cake for that particular song. So I can't leave him out because he is featured. Yeah. So Mike Phillips and Ghostface Killer. So for future collaborations, it's always a difficult question for me because I never know what to say. I grew up in the time where features weren't like the culture, I think it became more of a culture in the 2000s and beyond, where it's like a staple in music culture now. But I didn't grow up with that. I was already, I was just crossing over into adulthood when that became the thing. So my favorite music is always going to be the music that I grew up with, the music that influenced the most. And I just never listened to like, a Whitney Houston album, like, oh, I wish she would collab with Michael Jackson. Like, or like, I wish Tony and Mariah would get on this song together. Like, I never thought like that, So I still don't, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I still don't think of
well, I want you to know that Kenny Lattimore sends a hello to you, and he said he enjoyed performing with you at the casino last year, and of course, and I guess you guys did a duet, and he would love to do a duet with you. So I'm just throwing that out.
We were talking about doing the song that we sang, "If This World Were Mine," by Sherilyn and Luther Vandross. But I don't know what happened. I think we were just both busy working on projects, and we just couldn't get it done how we wanted to get it done. But I mean, I still am totally down to do that, Kenny.
He is phenomenal, and another Grammy nominee like you. And I just love your music. There are, we talked about a couple of things, and you mentioned, this year has been a traumatic year with the pandemic, and it's been life-changing for all professions. But I would think someone like you, a performer who you know, people want to see you and feel you. It's been a big adjustment. What do you say that you've changed and been able to adapt to? Because you still got to make music, you still got to sing, you got to still want to perform. What did you do? How did you adjust?
So the great part about making an album is you can kind of do that from home or not really have to go too many different places. I'm doing the project. So throughout the pandemic, besides, you know, obviously a month ago when it came out, I've really been working on Love Absolute. So it ended up coming at a very interesting time for me, the pandemic, I mean, because I needed to finish Love Absolute.
Okay.
And
that works.
I'm thinking about how many, you know, how long it takes me to make albums, but I definitely make deadlines for myself, and I often don't meet them, and then I'll make a new one, you know. So I made several with Love Absolute, and I do believe the pandemic, you know, allowed us to accelerate the process and get done sooner than perhaps we would have if there was no pandemic. So it actually ended up being like, you know, a gift and a curse.
Right. I think many people say that too. So have you found other ways of connecting? I don't know how social media you are before the pandemic, but did it make you create and do things and talk more with your fans via social media?
I think so, yeah, because I'm definitely not the social media butterfly at all. So I definitely had to step my game up during the pandemic and leading up to Love Absolute, of course. And I tried to make it about my fans. I tried to make it about my connection with them. Like I'm usually talking to them, or I always respond in the comments and things like that, or ask them what they think about this or that. It's usually not like, I don't know. I think social media has a lot of vanity and narcissism and all that. I try my best to stay away from that and not go that route and try to make it about connecting with my fans and not just so much about myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes full and complete sense. So, you know, our stream here, we can see comments coming in. You're getting lots of love from all over the country. And of course, you know, the number one question is she going to sing something? Is she going to sing something? Like, you guys know that she doesn't have her band there, but if you ever want to kick out a melody or tune, or you want to say a couple notes of Emotional Roller Coaster, you know, we won't stop you. You know that, right, Vivian? You know that, right? So I see behind you, you have this huge, well, it looks like a painting of The Wiz, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that's that's your love for that Broadway too?
Oh, absolutely. I have an immense love for Broadway. So, so this is stretched canvas is what it is.
Okay.
Stretched over wood, and it is about 5 feet. So it's, you know, life size. And I have a couple around here, just by the way, of different things. Like there's a Kia Life one, you know, on a different floor. So yeah, and then Beach Street, and I have Ella Fitzgerald. So this is just the one that I usually do my videos behind. But yeah, I have, again, an immense love for theater, and The Wiz is a show that my parents really, really loved. And they had the album, we had the video once we were able to have that. And I remember just watching it every day with my siblings, like over and over and over and over and over again. Like, I know it word for word. It's pretty bad, but
wow.
Yeah, all the way through. Everybody's part, everybody's song.
I'm saying wow, Vivian, because I know people that are like that, and I'm just not that person. I can watch a movie and I'll know purses, or I'll know parts of it, or I'll know the bridge, but that's it. To know, I'm always amazed. I mean, literally, I've been around with my best friends and my godchildren, and they're saying the verses and parts for each person. I'm like, and they just love it. Especially Christmas time. There's a lot of things that come out during the holidays that you can just watch over and over and over again.
Yeah, so The Wiz is definitely that for me. And, you know, it's very nostalgic, and it reminds me of my parents and all the wonderful gifts that they gave me, musical gifts that they gave me, and my siblings. And, you know, we would all watch this together. So it represents my family for sure. It represents my love for theater for sure. And it represents growing up, you know, and some of the first music that I learned and listened to and memorized, you know, right behind me. Yeah.
For those who know your music and they have been fans of yours since 2002, Can you tell us something we don't know about you that, you don't mind sharing with us? I mean, again, like I said, this is a pandemic right now. People are on lifelines and they want to be as close as they can to people that they know and that they love. And this is an opportunity for them to find out something about you that they didn't know, whether you're a chef or painter.
Okay. Well, I do love to cook.
Okay.
I've cooked probably every day of the pandemic, besides the few times that I had to fly out and be somewhere else. I love food, but I don't eat everything. So, so you may not want to come over.
So you're not a vegetarian or anything like that, or vegan?
I don't know. I'm not a vegetarian because I do eat fish.
Okay.
Okay. I'm a vegan if there's a such thing as a fish eating vegan.
I love it. Okay. All right. Yeah. I always say
I don't have dairy like in my home like at all. So like I said, I don't eat everything. You may not want to come over for dinner, but
okay.
But like last night, for instance, I had, I don't know, a grilled salmon, collards and couscous, so that's the kind of dinner you have over here.
Wait, you cook collards?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're a real cook. I don't even know how to do that. I'm serious.
All the time, not just for the holidays. I make them all the time.
Wow. And so you said you've cooked pretty much, other than when you have to travel, you've cooked every night. You understand, we're going in, it's December. So we've had about 11 months. Oh no. Oh my gosh. I've gotten better.
I love it though, because when you are on the road, you are eating out like all of the time. And for someone like me, like I have my go-to places, especially in like major cities where I know when I go to New York, LA, Chicago, Detroit, I know where to go. But then when you smaller towns, it gets a little harder when you have a diet like mine, so not always fun to eat on the road. There's been many nights after a concert where I'm like, my tour manager, like, okay, so what did we find me to eat? And it's like, this is all we could find, and it's like Japanese is like a go-to, or I know I can get, salmon teriyaki or something like that, and some brown rice if all else fails. But in some of those smaller markets, that's what you end up doing. And it's not my favorite, but I do it. So being home and being able to make what I want to make every night is actually really nice, because like I said, I love my food. My family loves my food.
What would you say is one of your favorite meals that either you like to cook or like to eat? Is there any one that stands out more than others?
I don't know. I can really burn, so I don't know. No.
That is so. We might have to figure out. We can do like a cooking show with Vivian. I love this. I mean, this is really, really great to know about you. I've learned during these last 11 months
about like my singing, but my cooking, I'm probably not. I can cook, okay?
That is so interesting to know about you. I love it. I love it. So we're speaking now to Vivian Green. She's singer, songwriter, actress, and pianist, and she has her album out. Yeah, I know you've heard about it. Yeah, it is Love Absolute, available. Look at that. I want you to show that. No, don't just flash it. Look at that beautiful cover. And it's out on all streaming platforms. Now, Vivian, how can we follow you? If you have fans that want to connect to you, how can they connect to you?
So you can connect to me on social media at I am Vivian Green. That's really easy. It's that across the board. I am Vivian Green, no E at the end. And yeah, like I really engage mostly on Facebook and Instagram. Like I try before I go to sleep at night, no matter what the hour is. I'm like, okay, it's 3 a.m. I gotta be on Facebook for an hour and respond to the last couple posts and reply to people, So I really make a point to do that. It's so very important in this new age that we're in, to do that. And so I do it. It's really, really important. So you can follow me and you can find out everything that I'm doing and where I'm going to be when things open back up again. And yeah.
And so now all you guys wondering if she's responding, she's letting you know she actually responds to her own Facebook. And that is really, really special and personal to know that.
I do. And my website is viviangreenmusic.com.
viviangreenmusic.com. So Vivian, we talked about the pandemic. What's your day like now with the pandemic being in full fledged?
Okay, so the last month has been interesting. before it was making music like from 11 p.m. to the crack of dawn, really, because that's usually when because I have a child and he's 16 and I homeschool him and I've homeschooled him since the beginning. Yeah, since the beginning.
How do you do that?
He's a miracle baby. He was born with an unknown syndrome, so he's like the most amazing person on the planet, of course. Because he just is, not because he's mine, but because he just is. Like,
I love it. That's some dedication. I have a 16-year-old as well, and with virtual school
at the same
time. Yes, and she is truly my miracle baby. I'm telling you, that is a gift. She's a lot of work. She's such a good kid, but homeschooling, I mean, virtual schooling, I mean, she's kind of on her own, and I watch things, but there is something about the love and dedication to any parent who does homeschooling. So God bless you. That is a wonderful thing.
It's definitely, it can be challenging for sure. It has its challenges, and then it has some really great things about it as well. I did it because I just didn't feel comfortable, honestly, when it was time to go to kindergarten. I just wasn't there yet. You know, my son was 3 pounds when he was born, and I just wasn't ready to let go in that way, where if something happened to him that I couldn't control because I wasn't there, like, you know, I would never forgive myself. So that's how it started. But yeah, we're still doing it now. We talk about, you know, maybe transitioning for his last few years in high school, but I don't know. We'll see.
So this pandemic has not been really a big effector on him because of your homeschool, right?
No, yeah, it really hasn't, because this has been us this whole time.
Which I'm sure you love. My daughter calls me every 5 minutes. I just asked her not to call me right now, like, give me 1 hour. But yeah, she's like, can you get me this? And so, you know, if I'm home, there's no reason I can't do the things that I was splitting my time doing before. So yeah. So that's been my life, you know. So homeschool during the day, make an album at night. That's how I've done it. So how much sleep are you getting? Are we talking about 3 or 4 hours of sleep each day?
Right. But I think I managed to break it up. Like, so I'll get like 4 and then maybe I'll find another 3 somewhere in there.
So do you work out? Do you listen to other artists? Like, what do you do to relax? Because you still have to have that me time, right?
Yeah. So I love to exercise. So I love to
Wish I could say that.
I really do. I love it. It is a stress reliever for me. So I can feel it. It's like, oh, it just releases so much. And I'm sure, and I'm sorry, and I am so adamant about making that a part of my daily activity. Like, I have to have that me time to run. Sometimes when I run, well, most times, honestly, I don't listen to anything. I know most people listen to music, but usually not. I just kind of take in the fresh air. I like to run during all 4 seasons as well. So it's not just summer. Yeah, because in the winter, it's really cool because your body wants to stay warm. So I can even run longer in the winter because my body is motivated to keep going because I know I stay warm that way. So it's like I can go for days in the winter. I love it.
So Vivian, are you on the West Coast when you're running during the winter?
No.
Oh my goodness.
No,
wow.
I like the cold.
I just wish I could do that. I really do. And when I see people run
and a sweater, yeah, and go to the river and just it's really fantastic. And if a Scully hat, you make sure you.
Look, I'm so embarrassed to tell you, one of my biggest fears about running is like, what if I'm running and someone knocks me upside my head, or there's a dog? I am so afraid of dogs. And I see people catching that stick, carrying a stick, or no, if I see a dog running at me, and I mean any size, I'm going to freak out. So
I'm actually like you. I'm laughing. Like, I'm so terrified of dogs. So I'm like you, but usually I go on designated running paths. So everyone's running, and people are usually taking care of their dogs, making sure that they're on the leashes. Like, so you don't really see a lot of stray dogs on the running path. But yeah, like if you run on the street, like which I've done, plenty of times, you might see I've definitely had to run the other way because I saw loose dogs. So that's why I'm laughing.
Okay, so I'm very serious about that, but that's why you look the way you do, and I need to work on this. Because I really do. Yeah, and the funniest thing too, Vivian, is I can't work out before 11 a.m. At noon, anything afterwards, I can, no problem. But anything before 11 a.m. and I usually get up at 3:30 in the morning. My day starts about 3:30 a.m.
So I understand that. So then you're going after work then?
Yes. Yeah.
I understand. After. Yeah, that makes all, because you can't get up earlier than that to run.
Right, exactly. Yeah, well, you're right. And look,
you probably want to go to sleep after you run, after take a nap or whatever for a little bit. So after
yes. But we plan to do the nap things, but it never happens. And then if you take a nap and then it ends up you wake up the next morning, you're like, I had all these things to do, so you have to get rid of doing the nap thing. So you know how that goes. Our wonderful guest
who works in DC, and he has to get up at the crack of dawn. No, that's actually before the crack of dawn. I'm sorry, 3 o'clock is before.
right, exactly. Especially now,
yeah,
5 o'clock before you see the sun.
Yeah,
a glimpse of it anyway.
It's an unorthodox schedule. I think being in entertainment in any form, I think most of us have, schedules that are not like the 9 to 5 people. We just have different lives. You do, I do, something that we all have in common. That
yeah, it's so much.
And you get to go home. It's not about that for us.
It isn't. And it's so good hearing you talk about being a mother and making time, being the star that you are and the celebrity that you are, making time to do homeschool. And it just really gives people like me to say, there's no excuse. Just make time, put it down and make it happen. You just have to make it happen, because everyone can come up with excuses why they don't work out or why they don't run. But you just have to make it happen. And kind of hearing you say that and making time I just think homeschooling is such a true labor of love, because it's not just, you want the best for your children. And to go through that process, it's just a lot of work, and making sure that they're ready to be able to enter the world and have all the knowledge that they need. So I think it's really inspiring to moms like me that want to give our kids the best.
Yeah, I think so.
If you weren't a professional singer, what would you like to do? What would your career be?
A psychologist. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, you come sit on my couch. Yeah.
Well, so your music actually does that. So you're kind of doing it now, right? For some of those people, like what they said, the divorce, you helped them get through it, right?
Right. You're right. I never even thought of that, but you're right.
So you also said in this, you began when we first started the interview, and you said, Vivian, that you're a really private person, but you did mention in Love Absolute that you have a song kind of about your special someone, right?
There's several. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there's several. So give us the titles of at least 2 of them.
Okay. So Sweet Home is one.
All right.
Where You Are is another.
Sweet Home and Where You Are.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's got to be kind of special on the other end to know, yeah, she wrote a song about me. Put a smile on your face. I mean, think about that. Yes. Yeah.
I guess so. I guess if it's a happy song, yeah, but if it's like the
well, you know what? You're right. You're right. You are definitely right. So, we probably have another few more months of being on some version of a lockdown, still wearing the mask and wearing the gloves. Vivian, what are you working on now as we go and prepare for 2021? Are there talks of you doing virtual concerts or anything else that we can, follow and support you?
So in the summer, I started doing virtual performances. And they're usually like for, I guess, private things that I would have normally been hired to go out and do these private events. I did start doing them, from a sound stage in the summer. So that was very interesting to do. I've never done like a concert for like my fans. I haven't managed to figure out how I want to do that yet.
Yeah.
Because it's such a different thing. Most of those other performances that I mentioned they're like taped ahead of time, so I get to tape it, edit it, and send it. and they'll show it during their Zoom event or whatever, you know. So that's like a more controlled environment.
Sure. Yes.
Like being in control in that kind of a way. So I'm like, okay, how do I do this for my fans? And I know I'm well aware that a lot of people have done it, but I think I need to figure out how to do it, you know, in a way that's going to make me comfortable. And I just I don't know, like the audio, I don't know, it's like a sound thing for me. The audio has to be really, really perfect.
Right. And I understand. I truly, truly understand that. And like I said, you know, I know hearing that Vivian Green is performing somewhere and I would be able to catch her virtually would be really exciting. So we have to make sure that we follow you on your social media and see.
Venues are opening up in 2021. They're going to open back up.
Yes, so. They are. They are. But, you know, people have, well, you know, nothing beats live. But everyone's saying that since this has happened, every industry is now looking at things totally different. There's no more excuses why things can't be done, because we know it can be done, because for the last, 11 months, people have still been doing their trade.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, like the websites stage it, you know, they have live concerts, I believe. Yeah, so there are definitely outlets and ways that you can do it, you know, like, but for me, I just haven't yet, so I'm just being honest. Yeah. But I've definitely, again, I've done, you know, a slew of private events. And just, I was, you know, not edit them and then send it in that way. So I managed to work in that way. So
okay. So how about a video for Love Absolute? Any talks of some of the songs being worked into a video? I see a smile on your face.
Yeah, because we're going through that now.
Okay.
It can be a frustrating process because you want everybody on the same page and you want everyone to be happy with the treatment. We just started getting treatments in. So I think we might be going with Where You Are for the song. This is what we did. We released 3 songs before Love Absolute came out. Every Friday before the album came out, we dropped a new song.
Okay.
From the album. So they call instant grat tracks. And we thought that, you know, people and music platforms would steer us in the direction of single, you know, what should the single be? And we just have a dilemma because all of the songs, all 3 songs, plus more songs, once the album actually released, they all made it onto like multiple playlists. So like we're like, because usually there's that one song that sticks, but it's just not happening with this album.
Wow, that's a good problem to have.
But yeah. So we were, we actually came up with Where You Are by tallying up what people said on like social media. Like, Where You Are won by like 1 point.
Wow, that says a lot, Vivian. Wow.
I think so.
So you're in the works of doing that, and on average, it's probably been a minute since you've done one, but on average, is it a 2, 3, a 1 week production for a video, or it can just really vary?
Oh, it's usually no more than 2 days. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And all that can take up to 2 weeks. Yeah.
And I'm just going to ask you this question because this is something I've been wanting to ask artists like you. So when you shoot a video, do you sing it 3 or 4 different times? So when they clip the cuts to it, they're seeing you dance at one part or singing at one part, or are you singing certain parts and they put it together? Yeah.
So you sing certain parts and then they put it together. So whatever, you know, you have about 5 or 3 different looks in the video. So they perform quite a few times in each outfit. And then they kind of splice it up and put it together. But you aren't singing, or sometimes I'm actually singing because I think it looks realistic when I'm actually singing, even though the audio, you won't hear my audio from the set.
Sure.
But I will sing, you know, especially if it's like a performance, like if I'm like on a stage and there's like a microphone scene and all that, then I'm going to sing it because I need it to look really real. And then other times it may make more sense to just kind of mouth it and not sing it, you know, if it's more of a sexier shot. You don't want to, you know, have veins popping out of your neck.
Right.
So you decide what you should really sing and what you should just kind of mouth. Yeah. And then you do it a bunch of times all day. It gets very redundant. Wow. Your mouth gets very dry. You're always like, can I have some water before we do this next take? Yeah. And then you know, the muscles in your face also get very, sore because you're having to constantly do the same emotions or smile over and over again. So yeah, it's not. I think some people actually have fun making music videos. I don't know if I'm one of those people, but I love to get through something that I know is difficult for me to endure. Because to me, it just shows, okay, you did it, and you did it well, and you did your best, even though it's not your favorite thing to do. You didn't let that stop you from doing what you're supposed to do. So I like when I have to go through something that's not always comfortable.
So you made mention about maybe if it's a ballad and it's a seductive one. Do you find the pressures now in 2020 or 2021 when it is with a woman like yourself that's attractive and beautiful and has a shape where, as we know, sex sells? So it has ever been that pressure to, okay, can you do more? Can we see more, Vivian? Have you felt that as times have changed with people wanting more? Because what they did 10 years ago and what you're seeing in videos now, I'm still surprised that you can put it in a video.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I can honestly say that I was never pressured to take anything off. I can honestly say that. So that's a blessing that I never felt that pressure from anyone to do anything like that. But what you're saying is 100% true. I hate that sex sells. I don't think that's a good thing. I think it shows that we have so much more progress to make. Just as people, as human beings, that I don't think that's a good thing, and I don't think it's a good example for girls, for children. It goes too far. Especially with social media allowing you to see anything that anybody wants to post. It's like you have to be extreme for them to take something down.
Right.
Be in your underwear.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I don't think it's a good culture, but that is what it is. But I'm glad that no one's ever asked me to do anything like that. And I've never compromised myself in that way either. So anything that I've worn, as far as whatever it's shown, usually for me is mostly stomach. Like I was okay with that.
And see, that's so important. And Vivian, as we have a few more minutes before we close out this wonderful interview with you, for those who may just be jumping on, I just want you to give them take a few seconds to talk about Love Absolute, how many songs are on there, and what's different about this song from your last album. Excuse me, this album from your last album.
This is my new album, Love Absolute. Yay! It dropped November 13th. It is out now on all platforms. Yay! I really love it. It's my seventh studio album, and I love it so much. And what makes this album different than all of my other albums is the way it was created. I created most of the songs on this album at the piano by myself, not in a studio, just writing in a very organic and raw way before I gave it to Kwame, who produced the whole album, before I gave it to him to write around. And that makes this album very different from all the rest of them, because that means the music, not just the lyrics and melody and vocals, but the music itself is something that I was a part of. And it's different. You just have to listen. It's a feel-good album. I do talk about pain on this album, but the whole album is not painful. I try to touch on, a plethora of things. And it's a feel-good album. It's happy. I just love it so much. This is really one of my favorite albums of my 7. Like I always have like a top 3. So this for me knocked my last album out of the box. So this is now one of my top 3 of my 7 albums. I really, 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 really love it. So you can get it anywhere that music is streamed, and you can follow me at viviangreenmusic.com. Oh, my Instagram is at I am Vivian Green. I mean, social media across the board is I am Vivian Green.
So what can we expect from you in 2021?
I'm actually working on something, and I want to put it out in February. Because that was the appropriate month to do it. But I can't say what, because I don't like to talk about things before they're done. So
I'm like that too. I get it. I'm like that too. So we just need to stay tuned and watch and follow you.
Yeah, follow me.
Social media.
I'm definitely going to be posting it. So if you just follow me on social media, you will know exactly what it is when the time comes.
And as we close out this interview with you, Vivian Green, and again, I just have to thank you for taking time during the holidays, Christmas to be exact, to share your message of happiness and your new album, Love Absolute, with your fans. Closing out, what special message would you like to share? You've got everyone watching now. What would you like to share? A message you'd like to send to your fans?
What I would like to say to my fans is those of you who have stuck with me for the last 18 years, you guys are everything, really, really everything to me. You keep me going. You support me. You come to my concerts, whether I have an album out or not. You know, you're always there. You stay afterwards during the meet and greets just to say hi and take a picture and have a personal moment. And those moments mean just as much to me as they do to you guys. So I just want to say from my heart, thank you so much for staying with me on this 18-year journey. And I'm going to continue to make music that you hopefully love. And my new album, Love Absolute, is out right now.
I love that. 18 years. That says a lot. And this industry is so volatile. Here today, gone tomorrow. 18 years says so much about you and your fans and how much they love and anticipate hearing the next thing that comes out of your mouth, your vocal cords.
Thank you. It does, you know, like I said, it doesn't even feel like it's been that long. But I know, like you said, it is not, you know, an easy thing. You know, it is a triumph to move past your second album, honestly. You know, but that sophomore album can be a difficult album to move past. And so for artists that are able to do it and have that longevity, it really, really is a blessing, especially now with the industry changing and things being so very different from how they were in 2002 when my first album dropped. It is definitely something to be grateful for and to not at all take for granted for a second. And
now, I got a text that came in and wanted to know, are you on an independent label or on another label? They're asking what label you're on now.
Oh, okay. So it is so it's Universal.
Okay.
It's Caroline and it's SRG. Make Noise.
Okay. I think we answered that question for you.
So it's in the Universal umbrella, but it is independent, but not like, you know, I'm not putting it out is what I'm saying.
Okay. I can imagine that. So listen, Vivian Green, Grammy nominee, singer, songwriter, actress, pianist, mother, we have to thank you so very much for your time this holiday season. And again, you can support her. Her album is out, her 7th album after 18 years in the business. It is Love Absolute on all social media. And she said you can go to Vivian Green Music.
Yeah.
Vivian Green Music for more information. And then again, she just said she has something special happening in February. Fingers crossed she decides to let us know, but just follow her and we'll find out what that is. And again, Vivian Green, thank you so very much for your voice, your message in today's interview.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
No problem. And Merry Christmas.
You too.
Merry Christmas to you as well. That'll do it for today's show. Until next week, God bless and goodbye.